Yes, I think earlier your report pointed out that this cruise missile attack was mainly for symbolism that was done last year, and of course it seems like they're still using these weapons or some variation of them now, and so it has not deterred them from attacking again. And very frankly, there are other ways to enforce international law and international norms against chemical weapons. But one of them is not breaking international law by attacking another country. This is not self-defense. It's not authorized by the UN Security Council. And Syria certainly hasn't invited the U.S. in. So those are the three ways you can take military action under international law. And that this situation doesn't satisfy any of them. The United States is just used to attacking countries, and our media here always focuses on the fact that some other country is doing something wrong or violating international law. But of course, if we're violating international law at the same time, we can't very well uphold international norms or laws against chemical weapons because we're violating the international law ourselves.
Well, and you really do point out the hypocrisy there, and it's a bit confusing because on one hand, you have Trump saying that he wants to pull out of Syria, but now he's wanting to send a very strong message to the Syrian regime on this. Where does that leave the U.S.? What's really at stake for the United States in this? Is this just purely a power play between Syria and Russia?
Well, I think what this is for the United States is that people in the foreign policy establishment are saying, well, you're letting Russia, have all the influence in the settlement in Syria. And I say, well, okay, that's fine. The main purpose that we had was to get rid of ISIS. That's been done. I think we should now withdraw our forces. And I think Trump was right about that, but his military is pushing back on him. And as far as this potential strike, we don't know if they're going to do it yet, for this chemical weapons use. This is pure policing the world. And I think the United States has to get out of that. There are other ways that you can police this. You can have this group of investigators go and confirm that it was the Syrian government. We still haven't confirmed that for sure, but it seems like it might be. But have them do that. Let's go once you get that evidence, you go back to the Security Council and say, listen, Russia, if you go ahead and veto this, but Syria clearly did this because the investigators said they did it, impartial investigators. Or you can put multilateral sanctions on, or you can let some other country do the heavy lifting for once. France seems to want to do this because they're a former colonial power in Syria, and France likes to police its former colonies. So why not let other countries do some of this? Why do we always have to stick up for international norms? Because the reason is we want to be the superpower, we want to be the world's policeman, and we really can't afford to do that anymore. And I think we need a national renewal, and that would mean staying out of some of these conflicts.
Trump is also, he's definitely indicated that he is going to do something. He's considering what options right now are on the table with his military advisors. He said that he's going to forcefully act. You also foreshadowed in your article that taking any action could result in retaliatory measures by Russia, which is indeed what they are threatening. What kind of a response do you think that we'll see from the Russians if and when the United States pulls a trigger on something here?
Well, of course, what they're talking about doing at this stage is using B-2 bombers, stealth bombers, and cruise missiles from submarines and ships, I guess, that would be better against Russian air defenses. Russia has very good air defenses, and there's a real possibility that even with stealth, one of our bombers could get shot down or something, and then we're in a conflict with another nuclear power. Now, even during the Cold War, the Soviet Union and the U.S. tried to stay away from the same battlefield, because what happens when you have troops on the same battlefield or forces in the same country is there can be even if the sides don't want to get into it, that you can have an accident. You can have a situation like already happened in Syria where Russian mercenaries were attacking towns with U.S. forces in them, and the U.S. had to retaliate, or any other situation where you could go up the escalation chain. And of course, Russia and the U.S. still have thousands of nuclear warheads, so it's a very dangerous situation, I think, in Syria. And I just think Syria is not really strategic for the United States, and the U.S. should pull its forces out. Now, of course, if Trump does this, it's going to be harder to make the argument to his generals, yeah, I still want to get our ground forces out of there.
Mm.